Hey guys, and welcome to the greenhouse, particularly the tropical side of the greenhouse. Today I have a very pertinent topic. It has to do with Tradescantia zebrina, and there are a lot of Tradescantias that are very popular houseplants. They're particularly popular for people with lower light environments that still want a pop of contrasting color. So this plant is also called zebra plant because it has that striking stripe. Wow, that was a tongue twister for me for some reason. But it also has purple leaf backs, which makes it really beautiful. This is the zebrina species. There's also an albiflora species of Tradescantia that's really popular. And I have one other in the greenhouse. Where is it? Aha! This is the oyster plant, or Tradescantia spathacea. Sunny Star is this cultivar, so you can see how cool and bright and yellow that plant is. It's a little bit different. It's not as trailing, it's more spreading and clumping, but it still has that purple leaf back that we love in the Tradescantia zebrina. So you can kind of see these plants have very juicy leaves. They're very succulent but not succulent at the same time, which leads to the main problem most plant caregivers have with them, which we're going to talk about. Because Tradescantias like it consistently moist and not dry, but also not soggy, they tend to be more of a challenge for the neglectful grower. And being a neglectful grower myself, I understand the frustration with these plants, because if you let them dry out and they stay a little too dry for a couple of days, they get kind of brown, crispy, dead, dieback growth in the center of the plant, and it makes them kind of bald. It can also be a sign that your plant is not getting enough light on the top of the plant. If you're using it as a hanging planter and all the light's hitting the trailing growth and not the top of the planter, oftentimes you can get that bald patch there. So how do you remedy that if you accidentally let your plant dry out a little bit too much for too long, or if you have it hanging in an environment where it's not getting enough light to the top center of the plant? How do you fix that problem? I have a trick for you. So hear me out. The best way to remedy that bald patch in the center of your plant, and this can actually apply to other trailing plants as well, is you're just gonna patch the bald patch. You're basically plugging cuttings into the bald spot. So you're giving your plant plugs, basically. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take tip cuttings from one of the longer shoots, and if you have a plant, it might have longer shoots than this one. But so what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut, I don't know if you can see that, maybe that's better right there. You're gonna cut about 1/4 to 1/2 inch above a leaf node, like so, and you're gonna not drop the cutting. I don't have enough hands for this tutorial standing up, but anyways, so you've got your tip cutting right there, so you can see that. And what you might not see, and I'm gonna try to give you a better close-up here, there are actually little root initials at this leaf node where there's already potential for active root growth. These plants root like weeds. I mean, I'm talking in a day with moist conditions and good lighting, these cuttings will form roots. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna stick these tip cuttings back into the top of the pot. And I know what you're thinking, most of you maybe are more comfortable with rooting in water, but actually roots physiologically develop according to the media they're rooted in. So if you're rooting into water, there's always risk that the roots that form in the water aren't going to transition well into potting mix. So it's always best, and I can preach this from the rooftop, it is always best to root in the final media, the final substrate that you expect your plant to be living in. So if it's your intent to keep your cutting in a vase of water or in a fish tank for the rest of its life, or in a hydroponic system, root it in water by all means. But if your intent is to eventually transfer those cuttings into potting mix, into a pot, root directly into the potting mix. Because if you keep that potting mix moist and that leaf node is connected with moisture, it will form roots directly into the potting mix, and those roots will be better adapted to their environment, that media environment, the soil environment, not truly soil, the potting mix environment. Anyways, So that's how you fix bald spots. You literally just patch with tip cuttings. And also, when you trim the tip cutting, your original already rooted little branch that's on your plant that you just took the tip off of it, that is actually going to cause that branch to branch more. So you're going to have an overall more full and bushy plant by doing this. So the point of this whole little spiel is that if your Tradescantia, zebrina or albiflora, whatever species you're working with, your trailing Tradescantia, if you end up with bald patches, no sweat. It's okay. Do this little trick of the tip cutting and the stick, and you will be so happy because your plant will be full and happy as well. So, capiche? I hope that this little demonstration was helpful. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the comments below and let me know any feedback you might have on this video, what video you'd like to see next. And in the meantime, I'll see you next time. You've been watching Unearth Horticulture.